You wake up one
Whoa!
morning
Is
and
this
you're
for
just
real?
it. The most attractive man alive. Not top 10. Not conventionally handsome. The one. The actual, undisputed, scientifically confirmed, every woman in the room stops chewing, most attractive man on the planet. And your first thought? You check your notifications. Nobody texted. Because that's what humans actually do when something profound happens to them. They look for evidence someone else noticed first. But here's the part nobody ever talks about. Within 48 hours of becoming that guy, you'd be miserable. And I mean genuinely, deeply, existentially miserable. In a way that makes your current Tuesday look like a spa day. How is that possible? How does getting literally everything you think you want destroy you faster than not having it? For real, bro, here, where we say what no one else will. And before you assume this is going to be some looks don't matter, be yourself speech, it's not. I'm not your high school counselor. I'm not going to put a hand on your shoulder and tell you inner beauty matters. This is about something much weirder, much darker, and honestly, hilarious in a way that should make you uncomfortable. Because the most attractive man alive doesn't just get attention, he gets something else entirely, something nobody warned him about. And it starts the moment he walks into the first room. Part 1. The room changes. Before you open your mouth, you haven't done anything yet. You haven't spoken, smiled, or even made eye contact, and it's already too late. The second you walk in, and I mean the literal second, something biological happens to every person in that room. Not because they want it to, not because they're shallow, because their brains just do it automatically, like how you blink when someone throws something near your face. Studies on attractiveness, and there are embarrassingly many of them, show that people begin forming judgments about highly attractive individuals within 150 milliseconds. That's not even a quarter of a second. That's before you finished breathing in the room's air. And here's the first thing nobody expects. Those judgments aren't all positive. Sure, half the room decides you're competent, trustworthy, and interesting before you've said anything. But the other half, quietly, involuntarily, without even realizing it, decides you're a threat. The men who were just fine 30 seconds ago now feel slightly less fine. Not because anything changed, but because you exist in proximity. The phenomenon even has a name: contrast effect. You standing there makes everyone else feel like they're standing in slightly worse lighting. They're not imagining it. The data shows it. So you walk in. You haven't smiled. You haven't spoken. And somehow you've already made 6 people feel bad about themselves, attracted the attention of 12 people who are now pretending not to look, and confused 2 people into completely forgetting what they were talking about. You've been in the room for 4 seconds. You thought being attractive meant people would like you more. But what actually happens is, people feel more around you, which is completely different, more nervous, more self-aware, more performative, more competitive. You're not making them feel good, you're making them feel activated. And activation, as anyone who's ever had too much coffee at 2 a.m. knows, is not the same as comfort. And this is just the room. We haven't even gotten to what happens when people actually start talking to you. Part 2. Everyone's performing and nobody knows why. You finally open your mouth. And immediately, the show begins. Except you're the only one not in it. Here's something that would genuinely confuse you. Almost nobody in your presence will have a normal conversation with you ever again. Not because they don't want to, because they can't. There's a documented phenomenon called self-monitoring, where people with high social anxiety or high social awareness constantly regulate their behavior based on perceived audience expectations. Attractive people, particularly extremely attractive ones, trigger this in almost everyone around them. You become the imagined audience. People start performing at you rather than with you. The guy who was just casually telling a story about his weekend trip now suddenly needs that story to be interesting, funnier, more impressive. He doesn't realize he's doing it. His voice gets slightly louder. He uses his hands more. He glances at you to check your reaction like he's waiting for a grade. The woman who was totally relaxed 2 minutes ago is now thinking about where to put her hands. She's not attracted to you. She just noticed you exist, and now her body is running some ancient background software she didn't install and can't uninstall. And you're just standing there trying to ask where the bathroom is. This is the first hilarious tragedy of your new life. You are now, functionally, a social event. Your presence is the thing that's happening, no matter what's actually happening. You assumed people would talk to you more easily, more openly, because you're attractive and people like attractive people, right? What actually happens is, people edit themselves more around you. They're less honest, less weird, less real, because they want to seem worth your attention. So paradoxically, the most attractive man alive is surrounded by the least authentic version of everyone he meets. You wanted connection, you got performance. But here's the first hidden problem. And pay attention because this one sneaks up on you. You start to adapt to it. You start to mistake the performance for the person. You start to think everyone's kind of shallow, kind of trying too hard, kind of a little boring. And that's the moment the real damage begins. Because once you start filtering people out based on how they act around you, you don't realize you're the reason they're acting that way. You're about to trap yourself, and you're going to do it with a smile. Part 3. The cage. Nobody told you about everything is going great. You are thriving. You are glowing. And you are slowly walking into a prison built entirely out of other people's admiration. Here's a truth that sounds like a fortune cookie, but is actually documented psychology. Extreme attractiveness creates extreme loneliness at a faster rate than almost any other social variable. Not immediately, not obviously. It sneaks in about 3 to 6 months after the glow-up. Here's how it works. Everyone wants to be around you, but nobody's themselves around you. So you spend all your time surrounded by people and none of your time feeling known. The conversations are surface level, not because people are dumb, but because nobody wants to risk being weird or vulnerable in front of someone they're already slightly intimidated by. You start to realize you can't tell who actually likes you versus who likes the feeling of being near you. This sounds like a nice problem to have. It is not. It is the specific kind of confusion that keeps you up at 3 a.m. staring at the ceiling. Because you're genuinely unsure whether a single person in your life would still be there if you looked different. And the answer, and this is funny in the worst possible way, is probably less than you think. Because here's the thing about social circles built around your attractiveness. They're not circles, they're orbits. Everyone's orbiting the thing you have, not you. The second the thing weakens, the aging, the injury, the bad month, whatever, the orbit destabilizes. And you realize you never built the actual friendships because the friendships were never really about you. You were an object of beauty in other people's stories, not the main character of your own. You assumed the most attractive man alive would have the deepest relationships, because surely everyone wants to get close to him, right? But getting close and being close are completely different things. Everyone wants proximity. Almost nobody wants the actual human being having a bad week who needs something and isn't performing. That guy is inconvenient. That guy doesn't match the aesthetic. You start maintaining the performance too. You stop letting people see you struggle because you've learned, unconsciously, that people don't know what to do with a struggling version of you. It breaks their mental image. So you keep performing. For them. For the people who are already performing for you. 2 people, performing at each other, surrounded by more people performing, all of them absolutely exhausted and completely alone. And just when you think you figured out how to navigate it, you discover the one relationship the most attractive man alive ruins the fastest. And it's not what you'd expect. Part 4. The person you destroy. First is yourself. You thought this was about other people. It was always about you, and not in the fun way. Here's the part that breaks people. When attractiveness becomes your primary identity, your entire self-concept quietly outsources itself to external validation. Psychologists call this contingent self-worth, when your sense of value is conditional on continued approval from others. Most people have some version of this. The most attractive man alive has it on an industrial scale because the feedback loop is so fast and so consistent that it becomes the only feedback that feels real. You get compliments, you feel good. Compliment fades, you feel weird. You get another compliment, good again. No compliment for 12 hours, odd discomfort. You can't name it, but it's there. This is what's actually happening. You're not building confidence, you're building dependence. The attention isn't making you more sure of yourself. It's making you less able to function without it, which means you now need it more tomorrow than you needed it today, which means you'll do more to get it tomorrow, which means you know where this goes. The self-sabotage? Here's where it gets funny in the most uncomfortable way possible. The most attractive man alive starts making choices designed to maintain the attractiveness rather than live his life. He doesn't take the job that requires weird hours because it'll mess up his routine. He doesn't date the woman who challenges him because she doesn't make him feel worshipped. He picks the easier friendship over the more real one, the more comfortable meal, the less threatening conversation. He optimizes his entire existence around preserving the thing that was supposed to be a gift. And the big contradiction, the one that should make you spit out your drink, is that the behaviors required to maintain extreme attractiveness are almost identical to the behaviors of someone deeply afraid of losing something precious. The confident guy everyone assumes he is doesn't actually exist. What's underneath is someone quietly terrified that one bad angle, one bad week, 1 year of aging will collapse the entire infrastructure of his social life. He's the most attractive man alive. He's also the most fragile. But none of that is the final truth. There's one more thing nobody saw coming. Something about what attractiveness actually is. And once you see it, you can't look at this the same way. Part 5. The wildest realization nobody prepares you for. You've been thinking about attractiveness wrong this whole time. And so has everyone else. Here's the theory reveal moment. Attractiveness isn't a thing you have. It's a thing that happens between you and other people, which sounds like something someone embroiders on a pillow, but bear with me, because this actually changes everything. Studies on attractiveness perception show that the same person's attractiveness rating changes significantly based on context, emotional state of the observer, cultural setting, and crucially, how that person makes others feel about themselves. The most attractive person isn't the one who objectively has the ideal face. It's the one who creates the most powerful response in the highest number of people, which means, and this is where it gets beautifully, uncomfortably weird, the most attractive man alive isn't attractive. He's a mirror. Everyone around him is responding to their own desires, their own insecurities, their own projections. He's not the thing they're actually reacting to. He's the surface they're reacting onto. He doesn't make people feel attracted. He makes people feel activated. And they interpret that activation as attraction because it's the closest label they have. So the most attractive man alive is, technically, not a person to most of the people who want to be near him. He's an experience they're having with themselves, which is simultaneously the most flattering and the most lonely thing you've ever heard. Remember the very beginning, when you woke up and checked your notifications and nobody texted? That was the first truth. Beneath every fantasy about being the most attractive man alive is the same basic human need that existed before the glow-up. The need to be known. Not seen. Known. Being seen is easy when you look like that. Being known is the same exact difficulty it's always been. Possibly harder. Because now everyone's looking at the surface so hard they never get past it. The most attractive man alive spends his days being the most visible person in any room and somehow still feeling like nobody actually sees him. The thing you actually want, the real thing underneath the attractiveness fantasy, isn't the attention. It's what you think the attention will confirm, that you're worth something, that you belong, that someone would choose you on purpose. And here's the brutal honesty. Those things don't come from being the most attractive man alive. Those things come from being brave enough to be bad at first conversations and weird enough to have opinions and present enough to actually listen, all of which is significantly harder than just having a good jaw. The most attractive man alive and the most invisible man in the room want exactly the same thing. And weirdly, the invisible guy sometimes has an easier time finding it. Because nobody's performing for him. He gets to see who people actually are, which means being ordinary might be, and I know this sounds deranged, one of the most underrated social advantages in human history. Damn, that changes everything. So here's your assignment. Drop in the comments. Would you actually want it? The whole thing. The most attractive man alive package. Knowing everything you know now. Be honest. Don't give me the Instagram answer. Give me the 3 a.m., lights off, no one's watching answer. Because I guarantee at least half of you are going to say yes anyway. And that's fine. That's just being human. We always think we'd handle the curse better than the last guy. And if this video somehow didn't ruin attractiveness for you, and you still want more content that ruins things you used to enjoy, there's a subscribe button somewhere on this screen. I'm not going to beg. That would be deeply unattractive. And as we've just established, that might actually be my biggest competitive advantage. For real, bro, out. Go be weird. It's working.